This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source on San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM and Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. This is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert. Houston's not working for everyone. People don't feel safe. Potholes are everywhere. Water bills are skyrocketing, and minority businesses are struggling. That's why I entered the race for mayor. Read about my 100-day pledge to Houston at GarciaForHouston.com. Thank you.
Political ad paid for by Garcia for Houston campaign.
All right, here we go. We're live, Houston. This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, and we are live and remote. And boy, I don't know. We're going to see how this goes because we haven't been remote, but we did do it one time in El Salvador, and I think it was a hit. But here we are in the heart of the Heights, and we are at what's called that badass restaurant on 11th Street. Now, I don't know if I can say badass on the radio, so I better not say it anymore, but I'll just do it one more time. That badass restaurant on 11th Street. No, really, it's called Andy's Cafe. It's unbelievable. It is great home cooking. It's the type of place that your grandma used to make. And I got my friends over here. If you could just put the camera on them, I don't know if you can or can't. It's Andy's Home Cafe. Look at that. Right now, they've got about 8,000 calories right there with enchiladas. They got breakfast. I mean, I can't wait to jump right in. Look, they're so busy they can't even talk to us because they're busy eating. But here we are on a very serious subject matter because I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Tomas Morales, and he's the owner of this establishment, and he's owned this establishment for many years. We're going to go through that. And you heard my first ad that's ever appeared on radio for me running for mayor. You just heard it, Houston. And thank you very much, studio audience. And thank you. And you know what? You'll notice I said Houston's not working for everyone. And you notice at the end, one of the main things I said was small businesses. And this is exactly what I'm talking about right here at Andy's because they've been here. Andy, first of all, welcome, Mr. Morales. Welcome, entrepreneur. He's the owner of this establishment. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Thomas, let me ask you this. How long have you owned this restaurant?
Well, my mother and father started in July of 1977.
1977. Some of us, I'm dating myself. I remember 1977. I do. Because I grew up, I was born in 63. And so I'm a product of public schools. And I remember the 70s. I remember, Jimmy Carter. I remember the long gas lines. I remember the Iran-Contra affair. The hostage crisis. I remember all those things like it was yesterday. And that's when y'all started your restaurant?
Right.
Unbelievable. And what made your parents decide to open this restaurant?
Well, my dad has always been a businessman, always wanted to own his own business. He was a carpenter first. He owned a bar on Washington Avenue right there where it was called Musical Bar. Right there where...
like Rockefellers or one of those?
No, it was where Ninfa's son...
Oh, okay, yeah.
What is that called? I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, right there was his bar.
Yep. And so when did he say, you know what, I'm going to open the best home cooking there is? When did he make that statement? And who was the cook?
Recipes.
You got to have someone that's a really good cook to pull that off.
My mother was. We used her recipes to cook all the food.
Wow.
And my aunt at the time had a restaurant on North Main called Rico's Triangle Cafe, and my brother Randy actually knew of this restaurant and told my father that it was for lease. So so
it was already here.
Well, it was called Home Cafe.
Home Cafe. And now it's Andy's Home Cafe.
Right.
And is that your grandfather's, your father's name?
Actually, that's my youngest brother. He was
it's all in the family.
Yeah. It was 4 years old when we opened up.
Wow. Just like the good Latino families that we all are. It's just all in the family. That is wonderful. Well, let me ask you this. So you open, and what's it like being an entrepreneur when you came? So you came to the restaurant when?
I was from the very beginning here.
From the beginning?
Yeah.
So you have seen the ups and downs of the housing crisis, the crisis in Houston, the oil bust. You've lived through all of that. COVID, you've lived through all of that. And you're standing.
Yeah, we're still here.
And you're still here. Give them a round of applause, Houston. That's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Because, I think I'm an entrepreneur myself. And so unless you know what it's like to wonder, how am I going to meet payroll this week? How am I going to make it through this crisis? You just don't know what's going on out there in the community. And that is another reason why I'm running for mayor. When you have nothing but professional politicians, their whole lives, 50 years has been spending other people's money, which is our money, and they don't really have an idea of what is it like to be an entrepreneur, because it's hard. Because you got to take care of your customers, you got to take care of your employees, and it's hard. And you got to put them first.
Right.
You got to put them first through thick or thin. Well, let me ask you this. So you've been through all of those things. What's happened recently? Because I understand that now the restaurant is going to be moving. Tell us about that.
Well, since COVID, business is down.
How much is business down?
I'd say about 20%.
20%? So now to where it was before COVID, it's down 20%.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And so explain to me, though, what's been happening here with your location here?
We've been having some parking issues. We have a new someone bought the property next door to us, and they're not letting us use the parking. They roped it off, and
that seems so strange, because typically when you have a small business, we're all in it together, and in a strip center like this, everyone knows each other, everyone's helpful, and to just rope it all off just like that. Were you given any warning, like, we're going to rope it off? And why are we roping it off?
Well, they said it was insurance wouldn't let no one park there. According to them, that's what the
all of a sudden the insurance company, after 46 years, made a decision that they're not going to let people park there anymore, because you've had customers parking there for 46 years.
Right.
I don't know. It sounds a little fishy to me, but I'm not a fisherman. So maybe I don't know what is fishy or not. Have you talked to them? Have you communicated with them?
I've talked to one person, and he basically just told me that I can't. That's their rope. What they're saying, and there's no way around it.
They gave me the "don't call us, we'll call you."
Yeah.
Very, very callous. Well, let me. I have a couple of stats I'll share with you. So in the Houston area, at the end of 2021, so this data goes back about 2 years or so, the Houston area had 11,936 food service and drinking establishments that employed more than 264,000 people. Small businesses, restaurants, food trucks, that is the bedrock of this entire city. Did you know that? 264,000. That's humongous. And they service people, and without them, well, we wouldn't be able to have all the great food that we want to eat, and on demand when we want it, all those things that we take for granted. Let me tell you some more. There are 4,833 full service restaurants, 4,741 limited service eating places, 671 drinking establishments, 1,563 snack bars, 788 other food service establishments, and a partridge in a pear tree. So it sounds like an extraordinary thing, and that's what you are. The fabric of the Heights. Have you had your customers come in and say, you can't close, you can't do it? Thomas, you cannot do it.
All the time they're telling me that.
They're saying, where am I going to go?
Exactly.
For what's the number one dish here that everybody loves to get?
Carne guisada.
Oh my God! I was going to guess carne guisada. I had some yesterday. I know it's not nearly as good as yours. I'm going to have some. That's the number one dish?
Yes.
Well, and whose recipe is that?
That's my mother's recipe.
Yeah. And what's the secret?
The secret is you made it with love.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can tell me the secret. I won't tell anyone, even though we're on 5 radio stations right now. And by the way, we're going to be opening a new radio station. Aliento Radio is going to become Conexión Radio, 101.7 FM. Yeah, let me give them a plug because they're moving to town and they're putting a massive signal right there on the Chase Tower that's going to cover all of Houston, the greater area. So I think we're going to be, remember that show, The Jeffersons? Remember The Jeffersons? I'm going to be just like The Jeffersons with our show here. I'm going to be moving on up. Remember that song, Moving On Up? We're going to be moving on up with bigger and better signals. And so, we have a phone call already. We have a phone call already? Is there a Jesse on the line?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Gilbert, good morning to you, brother.
Jesse, you are on a tip from Gilbert, Talk Inspiration and Prayer. You're here. We are here at the Badass Restaurant. Oh, I can't say that. On 11th Street. There they come. There they come. No, I'm playing. We have Mr. Tomas Morales. What do you got for us, Jesse?
No, I just tell Thomas thank you very much because this place is an institution. My dad brought me back here when about 47 years ago when they opened up. His father, Jesse Morales, which is affectionately known to everybody as Chocolate, used to be the coach of the musical bar Hawks. And we used to come here after the ball games, after the tournament, and Chocolate was always getting involved in the Mexican-American community. He was always buying ads to help people out. He was a good guy, good, great food. Everybody in the neighborhood used to come here and meet and enjoy this place. It's a staple. It's an institution. It's a pillar in the community. And I'm so sorry that it's having problems and going somewhere, because everybody loves the place. People came here to eat after Rockefellers. It was open all night long, and everybody used to come here and eat and drink and have a good time. And I'm sad that they're having the problems they're having.
Well, you know what they say, Jesse, when the Lord closes one door, he opens another. And so just think of it that way, because I think Andy's is going to be bigger and better. And so I think it's incumbent upon all of us, as soon as they open, Thomas, as soon as you open, we got to know, because we want to go. And you know what? I want to be the first to have a show at your new restaurant. And, and I want to. And then, we want to just pack the house so your business gets off the ground quick, because we need that carne guisada. I mean, that's the main reason. You thought it's because I love you and I do love you, but no, we want that carne guisada because we love that even more. So, Jesse, what do you think? It's hard to believe. So you've been coming here for 47 years? I think we may have lost Jesse on the phone, but that's okay. 47 years. I think Jesse must have been like 7 years old when he first came, because, Jesse's a young man. But continuing, so let's go back, Thomas. So 47 years. What do you remember most? Is there anything in your mind that you're like, I remember that? What do you remember of those 47 years?
The customers. Our very first customer was this old man that would drive around the neighborhood in a bicycle. His name was Doc. And he just came in, and he was a customer actually of my aunt over at Rico's. And he came in and drank his cup of coffee, and it just took off from there.
Wow. Is Doc with us?
No, he passed away years ago.
Well, Doc, we're talking to you upstairs. You know what? We remember you. And so we say a prayer to you. But no, how amazing yet you remember Doc.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. What was his favorite meal?
He only drank coffee. That's why he came.
I guess that's the meal. That's the meal of champions, coffee.
His friend that would also just come in and drink coffee, they would sit down next to each other and talk. And one time, Doc told me that he said, I don't like talking to Oscar because he wants to do all the talking and I want to do all the talking.
I know that feeling. And so they're both trying to save the world.
Yeah,
all over a cup of coffee. You know what? Sometimes I think if the world would be in a better place if we just all would take all the meanness down a notch and realize that we're all part of one race, the human race. And that if we just try to work together, maybe over a cup of coffee, things would be just a lot nicer and better than they are today with all the chaos. So I'm sure people come here and they're always talking about all the things going on in the community. What do you remember most about the community? What were some of the issues that have been around that, that your restaurant got involved in or people got involved in that you remember?
It's hard to remember of any one particular thing, but we were always just trying for everyone to get together, have a good time.
Amen. That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
Fellowship, getting together, good food, no place like Andy's.
Right.
I want to just show real quick to the audience. So in case you thought I was making it up, I'm not. It is that, I won't say that word. Okay, I'll say it. That badass restaurant on 11th Street. Right there. I'll say it. Andy's Home Cafe. Now, you got that style, and then you got this style. And by the way, now this looks like Andy's like a rock star or something. Yes. Right? Doesn't this look more like an album cover or something? That's like really, really sharp. Andy's in the Heights. And so I just want to say, Thomas, thank you. I'm going to bring Monica up here just a little bit because I want to talk a little bit more about how we can help you, because you've helped us and fed us all these years. So thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. I want to bring up, where's Roy Morales? I want to bring up Roy Morales. Everybody knows Roy Morales. Where is Roy? Come on, Roy. So Roy's doing hair and makeup on the way up here, but that's okay, Roy. Come on up here, Roy. So, of course, we all know Roy because were you a lieutenant colonel or what were you?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lieutenant colonel. Did I say it right or not?
That's correct.
Okay, lieutenant colonel. In the Army?
Air Force.
Air Force.
So we're also referred to as colonels, but that's when we use the phone. So
I see. I got it. So, and of course, you ran for mayor in the past. You're running for city council, right?
correct. We're at large Ford.
Well, let me give you a plug. Give us your website and what are you running for and why are you running?
Well, I'm running because public safety is going to be my number one priority. The city's forgotten about that. When we have a council member that wants to defund the police, wants to remove at least one police academy class, that wants to stop a federal grant for riot gear to our police officers, it's time to step up.
How can that be defund the police? I mean, really think about that. What does that even mean?
What that means is that they want to put that money towards other projects. They want to put that money towards, let's say, social workers going to a criminal's home. No, that's not going to work. The first time someone gets injured, we're going to remind them. But we should avoid that if we can right now.
Yeah, defunding the police, if anything, with crime as high as it is and murders as high as it is, we need maybe more money to the police.
Well, we need more police officers on patrol. We need to have innovative ways to take away some of the tasks that police officers deal with, let's say with an accident report. There's other ways that we can do that nowadays.
Okay, well, I'm going to change something on you because I know an issue that's near and dear to your heart happens to be one of the things on my pledge. Let's talk about this bike lane here on 11th Street.
Well, that's why I'm here at Andy's, because I'm driving 11th Street. I met a lady over on the west side of the super neighborhood that lives over here trying to get attention to the lack of support to the residents. The problem here, if it's 11th Street, if it's Hillcroft Avenue, if it's Lawndale, our elected officials aren't listening to the people. They aren't listening to the small business owners that don't want this because of the disruption that it causes. You take 11th Street, for example, right down here, they took a left turn lane out. So when you're here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, traffic's going to back up. If you go to Lawndale.
Well, let's go to the very beginning. Just explain to me again. What do you mean? So you had a street.
Two lanes.
Two lanes each way?
Yes.
And then there was a middle lane, I guess, which was a left turn lane?
For a left turn.
And where's the bike lane?
The bike lane is right here in front of the businesses on the right side.
On the right side.
On the right side.
And do they push everything over?
They push everything over.
Okay, I see. And how long does the bike lane go?
It goes from
do you know?
Down the street here all the way to Heights Boulevard.
And does anybody even ride the bike?
Well, I haven't seen one yet.
They took out almost a lane and a half in front of my building downtown. I'm right there on Austin and McKinney. And the bike lane looks beautiful because it's all green and they got those armadillo bumpers. there's nobody ever rides on their bike there.
No, and it's dangerous. Yeah, I've been down your street. It's
Right.
dangerous to the drivers looking out for people and other cars. It's just dangerous. But Gilbert, what's even worse? This bike lane out here on 11th Street, what's been reported to me, the contractor that put that in was also the one involved with bribing the city official.
Come on.
That's what I've been told.
Come on. That cannot be. But
Well,
it probably is.
does it surprise
hold that
you?
thought. We got a call. Will you stay with me?
I'll
Don't
stay with
leave
you.
me. We got a Carmen on the line. Is there a Carmen on the line? Carmen.
Yes, hi, how are you? This is Carmen too. And I just want to let everybody know that it would be a terrible thing if they were to close Andy's down. We have been eating it. We have been eating at Andy's for years and years, my whole family, and it would be terrible for our community and for people outside of the community also, because people come here to eat even from outside of the community.
Oh, Carmen, you're just you're tearing at my heartstrings, because I understand what it means when you love a place, you grew up with the place fed all your children and all your cousins and nieces and tios and tias. So I understand exactly how you feel. But you know what? It's going to happen. And so what I'm going to do is, as soon as we know where they're going, I'm going to let you know so we can embrace them and get them off to a good start in their new restaurant. How's that?
Thank you so much. But I believe in miracles, and maybe something will happen.
You know what? I believe in miracles too. So why don't we, hold hands through cyberspace and radio space, and we'll just hope for a miracle. I love that. Let me ask you this. What is your favorite dish?
The enchilada plate. I love that.
That enchilada plate with
Yes.
sin cebolla or con cebolla?
Sin cebolla.
Sin cebolla. Okay, me too. Well, thank you so much for calling. What else do you want to say to our good friends here at Andy? And of course, that's Thomas. He was here, and we're going to have Monica on the radio here just in a bit. What do you want to say to them?
Just that we are with them, and we are praying for them, and hopefully everything will turn out okay for them.
Amen. Thank you so much for calling. That was very heartfelt. And thank you for sharing your feelings with all of us here in Houston on A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I think we have another caller, though. Do we have another caller? Look at that. But that was really a touchy one. She's been eating here all these years and is just heartbroken to see Andy's closing. So do we have a Morgan there? Is there a Morgan on the line? Is there a Morgan on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
What do you got there, Morgan, for me? Gilbert Garcia, A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to call in and say I live off of 10th Street, so I am very well aware of the 11th Street bike lane changes, and I'm also frustrated. I share in your frustration about all these new changes, and it's more dangerous. You have to look both directions now to make sure you're not hitting pedestrians, and it has changed the way the Heights has looked. So I share in your frustration.
Wow. Well, Morgan, thank you for sharing. So you're like 1 block away?
Correct.
Can you see me? I'm waving at you. Can you see me?
I'm down
waving.
the street,
I'm
but I
waving at
can't
you.
wait to go to Andy's. I'm so excited.
Well, I can recommend the enchiladas without onions, of course, and I can recommend the carne asada. No, going back, Morgan, I know exactly what you mean, because even on my street, what's very frustrating as I'm turning into my garage. So I have a garage, so you park in the building, and there's the bike lane right there. And I get so afraid that someone's going to be on that bike lane, although I guess I shouldn't be afraid because nobody's ever on it, and that they're not going to be paying attention, and I'm going to hit them. And then, you know what?
I've experienced that.
And then I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's just, holy cow. But did you say you experienced that, or you?
Well, I've experienced the pulling out and they're not waiting for a driver and looking for a driver. And so the responsibility falls on the driver, and it is extremely terrifying. In your car, you don't want to hit anybody.
Yeah, because your car is so powerful. It's whatever it is, thousands of pounds and all that. I'm not a physicist or whatever it is, but I have one right next to me. All that, whatever that power is, holy cow. I got to go see the movie Oppenheimer so I can know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it would just hurt someone, just terribly. So, well, Morgan, let me ask you this. Do you ride a bike?
I do not.
I wonder, do you know is there anybody really that you know that really is like an avid bike rider?
No, not
Do you
really.
know anybody?
No.
I mean, I don't know anybody.
It's too hot here
well,
to
you know
ride a bike.
what? One of my buddies who's here, of course, he's still not done eating, but he's almost done eating. You're gonna get another plate? Oh, he's gonna get one more plate. He said the reason is it's too hot. I never thought of that.
agree.
It is too hot. And and if they wear all their fancy gear, their spandex and all that, they're probably burning up. Holy cow. Well, Morgan, thank you for calling and thank you for your comment. We're going to talk a little bit more about the whole concept of that bike lane here with Mr. Roy Morales.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan, for sharing that. So there she is, 1 block away. She's got the same fear. So, Roy, go back. So you may or may not know this. And if you don't, it's okay. Bottom line is, who makes these decisions? I have my 100-day pledge to Houston. Houston, hopefully you can see my 100-day pledge. And I hope that all of you ask every candidate, where are they on this 100-day pledge? And will they sign it? Because this is all about transparency. And anything the FBI raided, I want an audit now. I don't want to wait for the FBI to tell me what they found in the housing department. I don't want the FBI to tell me what they found out in the health department. I want to know now. So if there's anything going on that shouldn't be going on, we can stop it now. So it's all about my transparency. And one of the things I talked about was, let me just see where it was. I'll find it. It's on here. It's all about trying to understand who's making the decisions on converting and eating up car lanes and converting them into bike lanes. Who's making that decision? Do you know, Roy? I mean, how is that happening?
Well, the mayor puts it on agenda and city council votes for it.
But is there any study? Is there a study?
Well, it's common sense. The city of Houston is the number one city when it comes to the worst traffic in our country.
Yep.
So what does that tell you? They're not thinking out there. I mean, we take major arteries like 11th Street, like Hillcroft, like Lawndale, and others, and we tear it apart by putting in bike lanes for a small, select group when our residents have trouble going to work, when our residents have trouble dropping off their kids at school. It doesn't make sense. The people, the residents of Houston, the small business owners of Houston take a back seat when it comes to city council.
I guess I just would like to know, I hear you loud and clear, but isn't there someone doing some kind of study that says, if I have so many spaces and so many cars that drive on this street per hour, if I take away a lane, what will that do? Someone's got to be some engineer to do that study to say it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. And someone should do some sort of study to say, if I were to do this, am I going to get 20 bike lanes an hour? 20 bikers or one biker? I mean, it just seems to me there should be some thought behind this rather than somebody gets a big contract to do the work, to tear up the street and put in the bike lane.
Well, we've talked about this before. When Mayor Turner ran 8 years ago, he talked about filling these potholes the same day that the report comes in. Why are we spending all this money on bike lanes when we should be fixing the streets in the city of Houston, where our cars are getting damaged daily? Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So we got to stand up. They talk about what does an at-large candidate do? And my response is, we're going to drive the city like I here right now on 11th Street to see what's going on. When people call, I'm going to go. And we're going to stand up. And our district council members need to listen to the people. If they do, I'm going to back them. If they don't, I'm going to let them know what the residents want. We have to do that first. We could be a great city, a beautiful city. We make money in our city. But you talked about the small business owners earlier. What about some of these other corporate restaurants that won't come into the city limits, like Rudy's Barbecue, like In-N-Out Burger? They stay outside because of the permitting process. Again, hurting our small business opportunities here.
Well, you hit on another one of my pledges there. So first of all, the first pledge I found that it says evaluate recent car lane eliminations to prevent future traffic nightmares. Who can be against that? I just want to first understand and study it so we can quit making more mistakes. Who can be against that?
Nobody can be against that.
Nobody can. No, nobody should. But let's go to the other one, permitting. Because are you ready for this? I'm experimenting, and I've talked about this before. City gas on the northeast part of town. There's moderate income housing there's just not enough in Houston. So I am building moderate income housing on my own, and I'm trying to learn about it. And it took me a year to get a permit. 1 year. Here's another example. My wife and I built a home. Took us a year to get a permit. That's unacceptable. Because remember, Roy, we need those properties on the tax rolls so there'll be revenue for the city so we can fix the streets, right? I mean, that's the whole point.
Exactly.
So we need permitting to be a lot more of a profit center, and that's where you need a lot of people. It's a revenue generator, and that goes back to you've got to have a mindset of an entrepreneur, a business mindset, rather than just another career politician who just thinks, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll just, raise taxes. At the end of the day, you got to generate revenue, or revenue can be generated, and use that for the good of the people. Tell me about your permitting story.
Well, I've been talking about this since 2009, and our department heads need to understand that the way they should be paid is through the revenue that they collect. And we need to be business friendly, that we can bring more businesses in. We shouldn't collect our revenue through fines. That hurts our businesses. We collect it through the sales taxes that we receive from all these small businesses. We shouldn't be giving away some of this property taxes and abatements. We can do that here in the city of Houston with our small businesses. If we're business friendly, we will generate the revenue that actually goes to pay these department heads.
Yeah, you always hear about some of these businesses that get like 100-year lease without taxes. It's like, how do I get in on one of those? No, I mean, really, how do I do that? I guess I have to go hire the same old people in charge in the city hall, and the same old people that have the same old influence, and they have the same old, council people. And it really smells to me a whole lot like pay to play, in my view. And at the end of the day, I don't want to do that. I don't think I should have to do that. Not in a city our size. We have another caller, though. Hold that thought. The caller is, show me that name again. Alejandro. Alejandro, are you there? Alejandro. Isn't there an ABBA song, Alejandro? Or I got the wrong song. Okay. I'm the only one that knows ABBA in here. Go ahead. Where do we? Are you there, Alejandro?
Hi, Gilbert. Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Do you know ABBA? Do you know ABBA, Alejandro?
No, I don't think I do, actually.
Okay, you don't know, Take a Chance on Me. You don't know any of that.
That sounds like it's maybe before my time.
Oh my God! Just take the knife out from the middle of my back there. No, that's okay. That's okay. Alejandro, I know you must be what? You're a young man. What are you? Are you a millennial, or what are those? What do they call you guys now? Generation
I think,
Z?
No, I'm not on TikTok yet, so I'm not a Gen Z, but I am a millennial in that I love my overpriced coffee.
Oh, you love your overpriced coffee. I don't know who are the people that sit around and come up with these things like Generation Z and millennials. I think they must have too much time on their hands to come up with those kinds of things. Alejandro, what do you got for us? You got anything for Roy on the topic here of these bike lanes eating up car lanes and all the traffic? Or do you have anything about our incredible small businesses and great Mexican food here at Andy's Home Cafe?
No, well, first, I actually live in the near North Side area, and I'm surprised I've never heard of Andy's Home Cafe. Well, mostly because I live on the east side of the 45, and it looks like they may be a little bit closer to the west side, but I'm looking forward to visiting now that I've heard about them. But I did want to talk a little bit about the bike lane situation. I'm actually a cyclist myself. I bike to and from work whenever the weather permits.
So you're the one. You're the one responsible. No, I'm playing with you. So you do bike, and do you use the bike lane?
And this is what I wanted to talk about. I'm conflicted on the bike lanes because on one end, I understand the need to incentivize public transportation. That's really what's causing a lot of traffic in Houston, is that there's not it's not easily accessible for people to take other forms of transportation to and from work and whatnot. I'm lucky or blessed enough, I should say, that I live nearby work that I can bike to and from. But if I have to be honest, I rarely use the bike lanes because they give a false sense of security. They're parking on the bike lanes in downtown, or people are turning out from the garages and aren't used to looking the opposite, from the flow of traffic. So what I tend to do is I ride a little bit on the roads whenever I can, and when it's safe enough, and then whenever I see too much traffic piling on or it doesn't feel as safe, I take the sidewalk.
Oh my God! You take the sidewalk.
It's like a common sense. It's a common sense thing. Just be careful. Don't do anything that a car wouldn't do, like speeding through red lights and whatnot. And people are gonna be okay. But I don't know. These bike lanes, it's a complicated issue as a cyclist.
Well, let's go through it for a second. Number one, you talked about public transportation. How many cars do you think we really take off the road by putting in that bike lane?
I think it's a negligible amount because
right. I mean, negligible. If you really want to get public transportation, you know what? Put your bike on the bus and take the bus to the bike lane out there, Memorial, or out there kind of, where it's meant to be, frankly. And, or take, you could put your bike on the rail also. Did you know that?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's what I do on when it's a little bit hotter than
you just put you just put it right on in. You just drive right in and ride it right there on the rail, and you go up and down, and then you get to other areas where the traffic's not so bad, and then you can ride on a bike trail.
Exactly.
But what do I know?
Like $1.25.
There you go, $1.25. Well, let's go back. So here you are. You are the perfect prototype. So you are a millennial. You are a bike rider. You live close to your work, and you don't use the bike lane.
Not religiously. There's times where it seems like a good idea, but if I have to be honest, the bike lane's just, like I said earlier, it has well intentions, just not the best in execution.
Well, it's kind of like me. I look at it and I think, dieting is a good idea. And I see a workout machine. I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. But it's just the execution that always fails on both of those. So I totally get it. Well, it was very interesting, though. I'm going to paraphrase you. You didn't say this, but when you're driving your bike on the bike lane, you don't really feel safe.
No.
Not as in
not at all.
A crime safe. I mean, more as in traffic, somebody going to hit you safe, right?
Exactly. It's tough. There's already so many things that you can do as a cyclist. I wear my helmet. I wear bright colored shirts and whatnot to make sure hey, I'm coming through. But but there's only so much you can do as to avoid getting hit. But I don't know. It's a tough situation. But what I have been doing lately a lot more of is taking the metro rail to and from places, and then finishing off a little bit that's left on my bike just to make it a little bit easier. And it's okay if it's on the sidewalk as long as I'm not, hitting a pedestrian myself.
Yeah, by the way, that would be terrible. Don't hit the pedestrian. Alejandro, thank you for joining us on A Tip from Gilbert, Talk Inspiration Prayer. Thank you for sharing your views. That's the whole point. This station, remember, when I started this whole show 2 years ago, it all started because, Roy, I just got tired of all the bad news all the time. All you got to do is turn on the radio, turn on the TV, and all you hear about is crime, and how many people were shot over the weekend, and and where they were shot, and all this terrible stuff. And I just said, you know what? There's a lot of good in the city, and there's a lot of good going on. Someone just needs to get the word out. I've had sex trafficking victims that have survived. I've had breast cancer survivors. I've had people who were told they're not going to make it, that they died on the table, and then power of prayer. And I've had all these wonderful things. But I also want to use it. We did a lot with SCIU when they were trying to get the $15 wage. We did a lot for folks on Washington Avenue when they were talking about all the noise and all the stuff after midnight, how bad it is there. And they finally got their sound ordinance. I had them on my radio show 2 or 3 times talking about the sound ordinance, and it worked. So I try to use it for good. And you know what, Roy, I think maybe you and I are going to start something, which is something about talking more about these bike lanes, because I think we just need to get some data. And I'd like to explore more about this concept of it's just getting approved, and they're the same people that abuse the contract. Oh, we already have another caller already. I can't read that name. Is that a Catherine? We have a Catherine, Roy. I'm sure it's for you. Go ahead there, Catherine.
Hi, I'm calling in because I hear all this talk about the bike lanes, and I just had to chime in and say something too.
Say something, Catherine. Say something.
Because I live here, in the downtown, near the downtown area, where there's a lot of bike lanes. However, I don't see cyclists using them because oftentimes those bike lanes aren't maintained well. And so I think that if we were going to have bike lanes, they need to be maintained so that the cyclists are using them. They're not incentivized to use the sidewalks or the roads where there's a potentially more dangerous situation.
Catherine, the greatest irony of that statement is we can't even keep our car lanes upkeep, much less now the bike lanes that we're building. I mean, we can't even get those, the potholes fixed. But
exactly.
tell me more about,
I agree.
Tell me more about what you mean, though, just so I can understand these bike lanes. But by you said upkeep. Do they have potholes on the bike lanes or loose gravel, or just give me a roundabout?
I often see a lot of litter and trash and things that are just left in the bike lanes. And there was one time I was driving, I saw a man using the bike lane, and I saw him literally fall over because of all the stuff that was in there in the road in the bike lane.
Wow.
And so he had to come out and use the road instead in order to ride on his bike.
Wow. Well, that defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it?
Exactly.
But, if we can't get in there and fix those bike lanes, well, shoot, we can't even fix the car lanes. Now, the funny thing is when I see those big street sweeps, the big things that sweep the streets, I mean, they're big. I don't think they can get in that little bike lane. So how are we going to get and clean up all that garbage in the bike lane unless we make little bitty street sweeps, right? I mean, Roy, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. But Roy, do you see the same thing, that these things aren't upkeep?
I haven't seen that. I've just seen the traffic that's caused by these bike lanes.
Yeah.
That catches your attention first.
There's no doubt. No doubt. Well, I really appreciate you calling in. What else do you want to say?
Oh, well, I just want to say, I appreciate all the work that y'all been doing and talking about these issues, and also highlighting Andy's. I know that they've been a staple restaurant in the area for a long time, so I hope that they'll continue to do well, too.
Well, they will when we all band together and when we start visiting them at their new restaurant when they open up here. But I really appreciate you calling in, and I really appreciate your perspective. That was one that we needed to hear about the upkeep on the bike lanes, because I had not considered that. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
I want to get one more.
Day.
You too. I want to get another caller in, and then Roy, I'm going to excuse you. I'm going to give you your last comment because I want to get Monica here. So let me. This is Jose. Is there a Jose there? Jose, are you there? Mr. Jose.
Yes, sir. Senor Gilbert.
How are you, my friend? Muy bien, muy bien.
We are hanging in there right here in the heart of what we call el Barrio Northside. I have a question, though. I do have a question. Something that concerns us is our culture. Our culture is being minimized every day that we walk the earth. Our culture is being minimized. We have Mr. Roy Morales that is out there fighting to initiate National Lowrider Day. What do you think about that? And what's your stand on that? And talking about our Chicano culture and our culture at Tejano. I see that you have a radio station, but what about having a Tejano radio station? What's your viewpoint on that?
Well, first of all, it's I don't want to say tragic, but it's terrible that we don't have more Tejano radio stations. And that hits me in the heart because you may not know that my family used to be in the Tejano music business.
Okay.
And they used to be Hacienda Records, where all the greats started, whether it was Emilio, whether it was Ram, all of them started there. And ultimately, there are now no Tejano stations. And those that exist are really on internet radio or maybe some low-powered AM. So my view is we've got to, support those that exist and try to bring it back. As it relates to other things, Chicano culture, I'm a big fan of Latino art. I've been a supporter of Alma, of course. They had their big art festival the other day, and I bought a piece that is going to hang in my house. So I totally get it, and I so love the culture. I love the lowrider culture. I look at the Garcia brothers when they come out. Do you know the Garcia brothers?
Oh, absolutely. From Eagle Pass.
When they come out with their lowrider outfits and stuff, I mean, it's super beautiful.
Absolutely.
And so I love all that. So count me in as a supporter. Ultimately, you are right. We need to maintain our culture as long as we can because it's beautiful and we should be proud of it. And we should never let people make us feel bad about it, like the old days. Well,
Mr. Gilbert, the thing is that people say that that Latinos don't go out and vote. Well, you know what? If you give them somebody to vote for, then we're going to go out there and vote. But when we give up, then you know what? What good is it to vote if we're going to get the same old thing, right? So I stand behind you. I stand behind Mr. Roy Morales, and let's do this, man. Let's rock and roll.
You know what? I really appreciate that because you're right. If you don't have anything to vote for, you're going to be like, nah, it doesn't matter to me. And so what's the point? Because they're all the same, bad. So no, I appreciate that. And that's why I'm running. I know that's why Roy's running, but I'm going to turn this city upside down. I'm going to shake up City Hall, man. And
all right, well, let's do it.
And then I'm going to have all the lowriders come to City Hall. And I'm going to do I'm going to do a proclamation for lowriders. I'm going to do it. If I win, you can count on it.
Well, Mr. Roy Morales is already working on this. We're already working on that, and we're going to make it happen. Thank you, brother, so much. And we're going to be standing behind you. And Mr. Roy Morales is already working on that proclamation. So let's get on board, man. Let's do it.
Amen. Thank you for calling into our show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Roy, I'm going to give you the last word. Your website and everything else. What do you want people to know?
Okay. Website is easy. It's www.roymorales.com. We can shake up the city. We got many great cultures in this city.
Amen.
The Hispanic culture is growing. We got to remember our culture. That's why I said the other day at a lowrider event, we need to be the first one in this country to say we need a national lowrider day. And because they're hard work, and it goes back to they're hardworking people like all of Houston.
Yeah.
And we need to stand up for the people that cannot stand up for themselves. That's why I'm going to ask you for my vote, for your vote for me, Roy Morales, on November 7th, because we are 16 weeks away from early vote.
16 weeks away?
16 weeks away.
Damn, I better get working.
You better get working, Gilbert.
I better get working. Roy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Gilbert, for giving me a few minutes. Like I said, I was just in the area looking over 11th Street, and I saw your signs outside of Andy's Cafe.
Wherever my signs are, come over.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
I see Representative Christina Morales. Okay. You give her a round of applause because she's everywhere, Christina Morales. And come on in here, Christina. And can someone get Monica also? Let's get Monica right now. That way we can be all together. Christina, how are you? And you know what? You always look like you just came out of a magazine or something. No,
you're so sweet.
No, really,
Thank
you look great.
Thank
you. I mean, what's on your plate today? And don't say carne guisada, but what's on your plate today?
Carne guisada sounds actually pretty good, but just trying to make the rounds, and it was important for me to show up here today, but also trying to get some things done before we go back into the special session on Wednesday.
Can you believe you're going to another special session?
I can't believe it.
It's madness.
We had 6 months to figure out property tax, and we couldn't get it done. Well, the powers that be couldn't get it done.
It's somehow I just think we just need to get like 4 people there.
Yes.
The 4, and just put them in a room and say,
work it out.
Yeah, no one can come out. It's like it's like a mediation. No one can come out till you're ready. So you make a decision. No one's leaving. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't eat anything. Nothing. And you know what? They'll come up with a solution.
That is absolutely right. And as Democrats, we're going to propose our own plan on Wednesday. So I hope folks will look out for that because we want to think about working class people who really, really do need that property tax relief.
What? I want to give you a forum to talk about it. So maybe my next show or let's talk all about
it.
And the Democrat plan is probably going to be, in my view, very rational and thoughtful.
Absolutely.
With no meanness.
Correct.
And somehow if we can just get that together.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have you, but I want to make sure you say hi to Monica.
Hello.
So
Hola, Monica.
Monica is, of course, one of the owners here of the restaurant. It's been in her family now for 46 years.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. I've seen different generations of families come, babies coming out. So 3 generations of families. So.
That is such a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see the babies come out and then you see them eating your food.
Middle schoolers, now they're in college and coming through. So it's really cool, like seeing them grow. Families have seen me grow.
Well, I'm getting a little bit of feedback there, Mr. Producer. If you can make sure it's not on the air. Well, let me ask you this. I really want to look ahead because we are, as they say, where we are. And I really believe when God closes a door, he opens up another one.
Yes.
Where do we think the restaurant's going to be? Because we all want to support you. We got to support our small businesses. Representative, I just went through the power of small businesses here in the community and restaurants and how many people they employ. It's a huge number. It's over 200,000, 264,000 just in Houston, restaurants. I mean, it's unbelievable. So we want to help you. Do you know what's your time frame and where do you think we're going to be?
Right now, we've been telling everybody the 9th, but there's really not a definite.
The 9th of July, you mean?
Yeah, like
okay.
This weekend. So
wow.
Unfortunately, but I mean, like you said, it's a new opportunity. The neighborhood's been super supportive of us. So much love. To me, this is like my house. So I didn't realize how big Andy's was. You know, like everybody knows us, and it's really, really cool. And it makes me love everything about the history of my family. You know, my grandpa's brother had Rico's Triangle over here on North Main. My grandpa also, his other brother had the musical bar in Washington. Actually, it was my grandpa's sister.
Wow. So. It's all in the family.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. So do you think, I mean, have you found, and don't say anything you're not comfortable saying, have you found a location?
We have one in mind. We're trying to stay about 10 to 15 minutes from our home base. So we have a one in mind, but it's not for sure yet.
I see.
I have a sign-in sheet up here. We also have Facebook, Instagram.
For people to stay in touch. Mm-hmm. Tell everybody, what's your Facebook, what's your Instagram? I want everyone to know. So as soon as you open, we can bombard you.
Yeah, it's Andy's Home Cafe on our Instagram, also our Facebook. I'd also like to give out a shout out to Chicana Boulevard, who's been helping us. They started a GoFundMe for us, and we'll be using that to give to our employees actually as a cushion for the meantime until we
Where's the GoFundMe?
It's for Andy's Home Cafe. We actually closed it already.
Oh, shucks.
Because at first it was to help us stay here. But unfortunately, with all the parking situation, you know, there's no street parking because of the bike lane. You can't park across the street because of the school.
Right.
There's really not a lot of parking available for any of the businesses actually on this corner.
Well, do you have a tip jar for the employees?
We won't know.
I want to leave $100 in the tip jar.
Oh, we can put it into our envelope that we have for the GoFundMe. I do have one.
Okay, well, since you said that, I'll give you two. I really mean it. I really mean it because I totally get it. I understand what it's like to be a small business owner. The representative's a small business owner. She knows. She just got small business, family business of the year. She knows. It unless you've really been through the cycle of the economy, you know, wondering how am I going to meet payroll, you just don't really know. And so
we've had hits. We had, of course, pandemic.
Yep.
Then we had construction. Nobody could come through here. And then now with our parking situation, it's, you know, we've had a lot of things and we've been able to overcome. It's been a little hard, but, you know, we're still here. We have a lot of love and support. So.
Still standing. Mm-hmm. What's that song? I'm still standing. Is that Elton John? I'm still standing. Or I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. But let's go back for a second. So when do you think we'll open? Give us some hope.
I'd say give us a good 6 months, you know.
Oh, my goodness.
But I do have pop-ups that we've been talking about with a couple of local bars, such as Heights Drive-In, Shiloh. You know, they'll let us post up in case we got to go that route. Hopefully, we'll be able to stay here a little longer so that we'll be able to work on a new spot and be in business. But, you know, everything's just roll of the dice.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you do catering then?
I'm also with a friend looking into she's starting a event thing, and we would be a person that maybe could potentially be catering on there.
Well, I know your carne guisada is like the best.
And the carne guisada is good. If you get Colombian enchiladas, it's like instant food coma.
Yeah, that's what we say at my house. That's what we say at my house. It's a food coma.
Like you want to go to sleep.
Yeah, you just go on the couch, you know, and there you are. Well, you know what? So I have a bunch of interns joining me this summer. I have 20 interns every summer, 10 and 10, and they're mainly all minority youth or women because they don't get exposed to this industry, financial services. And so, and a lot of those guys, they have big appetites. And so, like this young man here, I mean, I've seen he's going to be an intern.
Plate after plate.
I know, right? I mean, and you know, and he's going to say to me, "When is lunch?" If,
That was just the
he's ready for
appetizer.
lunch. He's ready for lunch. No. So let me ask you this: if I wanted to do cater for, let's say, 50, what do I got? 50, 30, for 50 for Carnegie Sada. Can I do that?
It. I'll do it.
Okay, I want to hire you. Right now. For
All right.
for
Put it
either
on the
Wednesday or
book.
Thursday. Would you rather do it Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday. I'm off.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll come get it.
I'll deliver it if you need me to.
No, we'll come get it. And if you've got like, I don't know the right word, but if you got those big metal things, and if we take it in that, I'll bring them back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those big metal, like warmer plate things. Well, consider it done because all the interns come Wednesday, so give them one day to get situated. So let's do it Thursday, and I'll do hit the tip jar. We'll do it all. So let me ask you this. Yeah, there you go. We gotta support our small businesses, and nobody knows more than Representative Morales, and we gotta support our Latino and Latina businesses because nobody else will. Nobody else will.
We have to support our own, and I just want to commend you for taking over a family business. That's not easy. And especially being a woman, I have to throw that in there because, going to the bank is a little different when you're a woman, especially a minority woman. But you are here and you're keeping the business going and you've got plans for the future. And we just want to thank you for that. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
We appreciate you
I
and we will
appreciate that
support
a
you.
lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'd also like to plug myself in.
Please.
I have a nonprofit with Las Chingonas de Texas. We'll be doing a back to school drive doing new shoes. So follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And,
Give us the name. Give us the name.
Las Chingonas de Texas.
Oh, Las Chingonas de
Awesome.
Texas.
I love it.
Okay, great. Well, I want to help there too. You know, after all this, I feel the need to let's just do a group hug real quick.
Yes.
We just gotta do a group hug. Get that on the camera. We gotta get that on camera. Are you seeing this, Houston? This is what it's all about. We gotta stick together, right? Because nobody else will if we don't support our community. All right, we have about 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. I'm gonna play my commercial for mayor here in a second. I got to get that in because that's for regulation purposes. But Representative, how can people be in touch with you? Give us all your websites and everything in your office.
Por favor, yes,
Yeah,
please follow our social media, especially Facebook and Instagram. That's where we're the strongest. And we had an event last night, very successful. We have our school supply giveaway coming up on August 5th, 25th year of doing this. And you've been so helpful and shown up. So. Yes, so we hope to see you there, and I want to partner with you with your back to school event too.
Yeah,
so
I've been to your Death by Chocolate.
Awesome!
Oh my God,
yes,
you have?
Yes, super fun.
Thank you.
The Death by Chocolate.
Okay, well, let's talk about that too. We have that coming up later, and we're supporting some amazing organizations like the Segundo Barrio Children's Chorus and Wesley Center, and I know we got one more in there, but anyway, we're doing some good things, and we hope you'll follow us and stay in touch.
That's why we got to support Representative Morales. And you know what? I just see great things in her future. Big things for another call, for another show.
And you too.
I'm going for it. I'm going for it.
We appreciate you.
My pleasure. I am going for it.
Thank you for standing up and running for office. I know it's not easy, and we appreciate you.
Amen. Thank you, madam. Last word.
Thank you guys for highlighting us. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that's been supportive and coming out and just showing us so much love. Like, everybody, our customers feel like family, I love you guys. Thank you.
Oh my God. There you have it, Houston. We're here at Andy's, that badass restaurant on I'm going to be in trouble for sure, on 11th Street. And we will see you next time. Let's hit the commercial. And I thank you, Houston. Please see us. We're here every Monday, 11 to 12. We're going to be following wherever we're going to go. If you got an issue, there's something we need to be at, you let us know and we'll be there. Thank you. This is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert. Houston's not working for everyone. People don't feel safe. Potholes are everywhere. Water bills are skyrocketing, and minority businesses are struggling. That's why I entered the race for mayor. Read about my 100-day pledge to Houston at GarciaForHouston.com. Thank you.
Political ad paid for by Garcia for Houston campaign.
This is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert. Houston's not working for everyone. People don't feel safe. Potholes are everywhere. Water bills are skyrocketing, and minority businesses are struggling. That's why I entered the race for mayor. Read about my 100-day pledge to Houston at GarciaForHouston.com. Thank you.
Political ad paid for by Garcia for Houston campaign.
This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source on San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM and Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.